Serious what mysteries from the early days of the internet are still unsolved to this day. I remember that extremely creepy video of a young guy with longish hair and a very odd way of speaking. I think it was a combination of accent and speech impediment, talking about grave robbing and how to prep the remains for sale. I remember specifically him going into great detail into how to properly clean out the skulls so they wouldn't rattle when you shook them. Nobody ever came up with an identity, location, or even a solid answer for who was buying the human remains or why. Anyway, I haven't been able to stop thinking about it for a long time. Because last year a man where I live was arrested for doing the exact same thing. He was digging up graves, taking the remains, and methodically cleaning them for sale. Sale to who? For what reason? It literally drives me insane. Safe to view alone after 3 AM. Not a chance in hell. The guy eating a soup and crying while two Teletubbies were reassuring him. That vid scared me for years lol. Then due to seeing worse I became desensitized to it. What can be worse than that? Is the Heaven's Gate website still up and running? Yes it is. But the real question is who is paying for it to stay up? The ones who stayed behind. I think a few of the cult members stayed behind so they could keep the site up and whatever else of the cult running. It may have just been one person even. You could skip going to heaven and be the website admin. That would be great. Probably just their Reddit guy who's glad all the tickets stopped coming in. Who was Sudaragic? TLDR. It was a bot that would search the Usenet feed for mentions of Turkey and then post diatribes denying the Armenian genocide. Who actually ran the thing was never known. Pink Floyd's Division Bell and Publius Enigma. Explain this one. Well, Pink Floyd released an album called The Division Bell, and then a character called Publius Enigma started to leave clues for fans on message boards, including writing that was found in the cover art, flashing the name in the stadium lights, and multiple cipher/codes and so on. Eventually, a legal threat that would have stripped away user anonymity on the message board servers ended with Publius Enigma disappearing before the competition or contest could be completed. No one was able to discern what was happening, and, more importantly, Pink Floyd was coy enough about it that no one knew if it was just some genius proto-viral marketing scheme. Very interesting. Thank you. Wouldn't say early internet but interesting nonetheless. There was a multitude of killers who have posted on 4chan. One who asked the question, what does /b/keep in the freezer? They then proceeded to post pictures of body parts with timestamps to prove it authentication. Another one was again 4chan, a guessing name of a missing person, and provided a freebie which when guessed correctly lead to the coordinates of where the body was buried. Is this true? Yeah. The coordinates one was originally posted as a thread with a pic of the missing girl and the message, if this thread gets trips, I'll tell you where to find her, with trips meaning a triplicate number in the post number egg 222 or 777 etc, which was not something you could see ahead of time. Someone made a reply in the thread with trips, and the op replied with GPS coordinates. 2 days later someone posted a news article from the nearby city with an update about the girl's body being found. The guy who went caving. He ends his blog with "I'll let you know what I find." And then it just ends. Google Ted's caving, and it's the first result. That was one of the best internet horror stories. A creepypasta before creepypasta. I need a link. Ted's caving page. Our good old Angel Fire. If you can remember what Angel Fire is, does that make us old or just mature? It makes you original. Enlighten us youngsters, I beg. Angel Fire was and apparently still is a web-based platform where people could make and publish their websites for free. Kind of like today's, or I guess Blogspot/WordPress, but not necessarily blogging focused. Another popular one at the time of Web 1.0 days was Geocities. In those days before Google, to find a website you had to know of it from somewhere else. Certain communities formed and created web rings, which were basically links at the bottom or side of their pages that took you to the next website in the community. I can only think of Numenoma guy and wonder what the legend is doing now. I think he's a lawyer. I think that's the Star Wars kid. It's the kid from Dick Tracy who became a lawyer. He was also Peter Pan's son in Hook. Lake City Quite Bills. Old Reddit user who used to post here in the really old days before subreddits even I think, died. Their friend took over their Reddit account for a bit and let Reddit know. Eventually people noticed the user was linked to some site which, in turn contained message logs. These message logs were all pretty cryptic. The logs eventually mentioned holding a service for the dude who died, but gave weird requirements like not giving your real name to hotel staff, not being told, only American currency and to remain low profile. Stuff like that. People are a bit suspect of this, and during the same night this party is meant to be happening some mobster is killed close to the venue of it by hitmen. Website after a while was taken down and all that remains are screenshots of the original logs. Barely Sociable has a vid about the topic on YouTube which will do it far more justice than I have here, but it is certainly the oldest thing I know of. The subreddit was locked for nearly a year until recently. Even the accounts posting to it, all cryptic. Every post from every account is some riddled message or a message related to a previous riddled message. Whoever they are nothing but careful. 1-800 Golf Tip 1990 to 2000 and man would count up to 10 and would have a pause somewhere between 5 to 10 and then a jump scare of a screaming or a strange siren noise. Don't call it now, it leads to an erotic hotline. Yeah, that one was a bit weird. A young girl went missing or was killed in a certain area, and as time passes, on YouTuber old white guy titled The Anniversary of That Girl's Disappearance/Death with the location stares into the camera and is just laughing menacing for quite a while before the video ends with him smiling. I've never heard of this before. Could I trouble you for more details, if you remember them? I think it was some guy obsessed with Maura Murray. Did they find out what was in the safe? Edit. OMFG. That was 9 years ago's _casino_lake_Tahoe. Where the hell has the last 9 years gone? I need to get off Reddit and get my life back. I would have thought you were talking about this safe, seeing as people were so obsessed with it that it spawned an entire subreddit, though the answer is still yes. And before either of those there was Al Capone's safes_faults. Has one of these mysterious safes ever panned out? I still can't believe Rivera and whoever else actually convinced the executives to make that thing a live TV show. How do people take this seriously? I was 11 and watched it with my parents. It was a lot of talking and stalling then nothing, and we laughed and turned it off. Circa 3301. Most likely some loosely tied group of cypherpunks. I believe some of the people who won got contacted, but communication fell short. Kind of like getting a job, but the company just kind of forgets and never contacts again. Who won the Zach and Codied Animals cruise? A true mystery. One I remember is something along the lines of, I don't think it's still up, but the gist of it was that a dude's feet were paralyzed and he wanted to cut them off so he could get prosthetics. I don't remember much. There are probably better explanations out there. The mystery of Bruno Porosnik. This guy was really weird and he had a YouTube channel. He made videos like objects that I've shoved up my and Margaret Thatcher is dead. One day all of a sudden his channel and all its content disappeared and no one knows what really happened to this day. Why Time Cube? I mean as in what inspired the guy to write it to begin with. Schizophrenia. I'm not joking or being flip about this. Either, he states that he was diagnosed with schizophrenia somewhere on the Time Cube site. Totally reminds me of the guy who created Temple Os. Temple Os is such a sad story. It's a perfect encapsulation of how serious mental illness is and how it can just destroy people. It really seems like as bad as the guy had it, he could have had a somewhat normal, or at least a happier life, if he was able to socialize more. got treatment and had a good support system. Even when he was being interviewed he had so much more life and lucidity to him compared to his liver streams. The times where he seems to have these brief moments of realizing how much he's lost and how much of his life was wasted are heartbreaking. Although he may have killed a guy. So there's that.